Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Arkeya Deshpande, and you are watching Grapevine News. Today, I have Christy Clark from the Liberal Party joining us to have a small interview, small casual interview.
Big interview. Serious interview.
Okay, then.
Real stuff is happening. Decisions are being made. This is the future. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So let's start off by getting a short summary of your party's platform. Should we be expecting many changes to your policies compared to the last election?
Well, currently, we think that the Conservative Party, on a federal level, has done bad decisions that do affect us on a premier/provincial level. So, currently, the Liberal Party is planning to make change, real change to Canada for the better, giving more rights to the middle class and the people who have been not given a fair break in recent Canadian policy.
In 2013, the main issue was economy and employment. Currently, the number one issue in BC is the housing crisis. What will your party do about it?
First things first is that the reason that city in BC, like the Greater Vancouver area, is suffering such a huge housing crisis is actually because we have such lax taxing laws on very rich immigrants from other countries. That's why people who are very rich from other countries, who are not getting taxed appropriately, and are very upper class, are just entering the country, and they're getting a very expensive house. And so many people have entered this way because it's so loose tax-wise that the middle class, who really should be the ones who are deserving houses because they have lived there for generations, and they're getting pushed out of housing because housing is so expensive these days. You hear people just make jokes about it. Be like, there's no way I'm affording a house in Vancouver because it's ridiculous. $1 million house in Vancouver is the low end. That's insane. Almost no one can afford that. I mean, last election, I focused on the middle class and improving the values for them. And this election, I feel that we have to do the same in the housing area, because the middle class have been abused and not given their fair share of housing for too long now, and it's time to have change.
BC's unemployment rate is pretty low compared to the rest of Canada, but the cost of living in BC is extremely high, and our minimum wage is relatively low. Starting recently, the minimum wage will rise by 40 cents. Will it continue to rise, or will there be different ways to solve this problem?
We have to have a minimum wage that's balanced to the extremely high living cost of being in Vancouver. I talked about this in the previous question. If you really want, you can rewind the video 30 so seconds. You'll get that answer. I know how YouTube works. But the reason that we've had such a lower minimum wage is because it used to be much cheaper to live in Vancouver, and the minimum wage is not adapted to the change in housing price and just the general price of living in Vancouver. So that has to be changed.
Our next question. Despite our healthcare system being a public system, it's well known that those who have the money will be able to jump the queues and get treated first, creating a two-tier system. How will your party handle the issues surrounding healthcare in BC?
Well, the thing is that while healthcare is public, it is very difficult to fund the very world-class health system that we have here in British Columbia. So, while we will try to make opportunities for people who do not have the money to still be able to get quick treatment when it's needed, we still do need funding, and that's just the reality of the situation. There's not much I can change about that.
BC has been an environmental leader on the climate change front. What plans do you have regarding climate change?
Well, we all know that the West, North America, is a huge contributor to the climate change that's happening very rapidly on the planet. And BC is planning to be leaders on the front of changing our ecosystem footprint for the better. Vancouver has made great strides in improving its footprint. I'm pretty sure Victoria has too. And long term, we plan to have a positive footprint on the ecosystem instead of just rampaging and destroying forests and the atmosphere like we are right now.
Since the elimination of the provincial exam and the implementation of the new curriculum, education has been a big discussion. What do you have planned?
While it hasn't been tested very long, obviously, I think the new system that replaced the provincial system will be a positive change. We plan to make more changes along similar lines, making things more personalized and open for students instead of more standardized robotic systems. We plan to do that and a lot more to help the education of our youth in British Columbia.
Other than changes to the curriculum, schools' budgets have been severely cut, leading to the decision to close schools down entirely. Furthermore, funding for many programs have been reduced greatly, leading to many schools to turn to parents for funding.
To be honest, I don't know.
What will your party do?
Wow, we have cut funds previously in the education system. Those funds did need to be cut to fund other things, and we did try to cut off the weaker links of the school chain system. We plan to have the schools be stronger than they were before, even through the budget cuts, and we use the money that we did cut from that to better the province of British Columbia.
The number of deaths linked to fentanyl has raised by almost 380
That's
since
a disaster.
2012. What will your party do to fight the crisis?
So, fentanyl has been a huge epidemic in the Greater Vancouver area and British Columbia in general. We very much plan to increase regulations, be strict, and seek out where the source of the fentanyl problem, because it's very dangerous and terrible for the general province of British Columbia. I mean, there are people dropping like flies. It's tragic. So we definitely do plan on removing the problem of fentanyl and hopefully rehabilitating and helping the people who were damaged by it.
Recently, a decision has been made to create a new department. What are your plans for the studio department?
If elected, my plans for the studio department would be to bring back the work updates that we had last year and the years previously done by Benji Lee. They would chronicle what assignments had to be done and when. They were very useful. Those would be brought back, as would like some study tools. If people have notes that are useful, people could share those, and we would open up systems for people to do things like that better to help the studio department trademark.
What do you think of your opponents in this election? How about your chances of winning?
Well, personally, starting with in alphabetical order, I would say Ayn Rand's a joke. You can soundbite that as much as you like. Ayn Rand's a joke. That's the second time. I actually do respect Horgan. I think Horgan does have some good ideas, though ultimately I do disagree on Horgan with key issues that makes me think Horgan would not be fit to be Premier of British Columbia. I think I have pretty decent chances. I'll play myself with 75% chance to win this thing.
And finally, on to our last question. So, Ms. Clark, you have somehow evaded our interview for 2 times in the past week, and we'd like to know why.
Well, the first time was just a simple mistake. I said I would be meeting in the room of the teacher Mr. Wyman's room, and you guys were led to believe that we were meeting in the library. Simple communication error, no one's fault. Second time, that's a stranger issue. I would definitely take blame for that. Not everyone's perfect. What happened there is that I asked Irene whether it was what I said. I said something along the lines of, "Is it today or is it at lunch?" I don't remember what happened, but I got the impression that it was at lunch. I showed up at lunch. No one was there. Then after school, I was busy helping teach the students of Arkeya about some writing at the writing club every Monday, room 323 with Mr. Vaughner. But I think what matters more than silly semantics and silly scheduling is the actual issues. And I think that what's more important than you guys picking a fight with me about random scheduling, you should be picking a fight about actual issues. What are your beliefs about what should happen for the people of British Columbia? Is that not more important than some silly scheduling error that happened for this interview? You don't think that?
No, because
You think? Wait, are you telling me that you value your interview more than the people of British Columbia, okay? You think that? You think this is a joke? This is not a joke. I'm
not
serious.
saying it's a joke. I'm saying that this is also a pretty big issue.
Is it though? Is it really? Do you think that a bigger issue than healthcare, education, childcare, insurance is my interview? Because I would have to disagree with you there.
Well, we already have the information to kind of
Do you?
Yes, we do.
I don't think that.
We just interviewed you.
Yes, but did you really go in depth? Did you really put in your heart into what your thoughts on the issues were? You didn't go in
Yes.
depth. You asked basic questions. So you could just have a passing interview that you could hand into the higher ups and they wouldn't fire you.
Let me
No
ask
one's
you
ever
this
been
question.
fired for
Let
not
me ask
taking
you this
risks.
question, Miss Clark.
Okay, sure. Wait, you said 16 questions. I don't have to answer this.
And I guess that's our interview. I didn't have the time to ask him our true final question. I guess, made him a bit more angry. My name's Arkeya Deshpande. This has been the Grapevine News. Thanks for watching. I can't really say good luck to Miss Clark or anything right now, but good luck!